This is Coach Lee, and you're listening to The Door Report.
Anchor down, baby. Anchor down. Oh, let's go.
I'll be playing with your mama tonight. 62. Boom, 22. Hard drops back. Looks like a screen pass. 62. There you are. Drop kicked it. Looks like O'Shea knocked him out. Oh, I love my mama very much. Now you know that.
Welcome back into the Door Report, and welcome into episode 343 on a still lovely, have not hit the cold, crisp, late fall/winter months here in Tennessee. Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. I am Will Byrum, joined as always by my co-host, Trevor Hulan, aka Hack Squat Jim Duggan. Here at the Door Report, we are presented by 615 Collectibles. If you're into sports cards or sports memorabilia, check out 615 Collectibles on eBay. Items include NFL team packs, graded cards, individual cards, and more. Shipping is always fast and free. Me and Trevor right now are running on fumes.
Oh, God.
It is rivalry week. We're going to get the energy up, but damn, I had a long day at work. Trevor had a long day of doctoral studies. So we are.
It is finals week for me. So, the first week of finals, and then
fumes.
I slept through. I got home at like 6, just in time for the college football playoff. Realized that Seton Hall and whoever the hell they're playing, USC, pushed the game back. I was like, okay, I'll take a little bit of a nap. I slept through the college football playoff. I woke up. I was like, Vantage 14. Yeah,
I even tried to wake Trevor up, back to sleep.
I slept through it, y'all.
But good thing to sleep through because nothing changed. So we can get into that more in segment 1. But before that, we have the Roback ad read. Roback Activewear. There is only one way to describe Roback. Best fit, best feel. For those who aren't familiar with Roback, they are completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable activewear. Roback has released so many items within their newly licensed game day collection, and it's our favorite. With novel polo designs and clean hoodie and quarter zip designs for some of your favorite schools, it's definitely worth checking out. Nobody else in the market is pairing these levels of custom designs with this quality of activewear. Roback's everyday shorts or their Delta performance pants are the perfect pairing as well. They are both super comfortable, have an elastic waistband, and great fabric that is made to have the appearance of a nice short look, but the comfort for a day on the move. Roback has also been proudly leading the NIL charge, having signed partnerships with multiple college football stars, both past and present, and are becoming the go-to brand for college athletes across the country. You can use code VAN20, that is VAN20, all capital letters, no spaces, on roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers. That's spelled Roback, RHOBACK. That's 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with code VAN20. Last but not least, we have the NIL store. Visit nil.store to shop your favorite college athletes' apparel and merch. You can visit nil.store/doorreport15 and shop the Vanderbilt collection. Use code doorreport15, all capital letters, no spaces, for 15% off your entire order. Check them out. There is gear across all sports. Football specifically launched anew. Basketball season is going on, even though college football fans are kind of tuning that out quite a bit right now. Check out that gear on nil.store/doorreport15. Some really awesome gear there. I think I'm being sent the gold Pavia throwback jersey that I will rock immediately.
Ooh, hell yeah. Dude, shout out to Peter Porker. Rock that in person for the Kentucky game. That thing is gorgeous. He pulled up. I was like, wow, that looks way nicer than I thought it would be.
Also, shout out to one of our listeners, Keith.
Yes.
He brought an awesome mug that is displayed there in front of us. On the other side is the Door Report logo. He was rocking a sick Door Report hoodie.
Yeah.
And I lead into that to say, shout out, Keith. But I lead in with that to say, Door Report hats are on the way. I've been working on that the last few weeks. I am getting samples shipped to me that should be here relatively soon. Just want to make sure that everything is right. I don't want to put out crap. So there's going to be one that's a black bill with a white top that's going to have the Door Report emblem sewn in, and then there's another that's an all black rope hat with a white rope across the bill. All of them will be high quality hats. So I'm going to make sure they fit correctly, make sure they fit good. And as long as that happens, those should be available in the next few weeks / maybe beginning of the year. We will see. Not going to be a huge order. So if you want them, make sure you get them quickly. The links will be posted across our social medias whenever we get those. That is by far the most requested item from the Door Report is hats.
You ask, the Door Report answers. The hats are on the way.
Well, hats are in progress.
In
Not
progress.
quite on the way
Not
yet.
quite on the way in terms of they're on the way to your door for the holiday season, but
They're in progress.
they are. This is the closest we've ever been to having merch.
We did try merch initially.
Yeah,
and it came in
time ago.
many moons ago.
Before
and
most of y'all were listening.
And it was, when we had about 20 listeners, and it was not the most high quality stuff. So that is why I've been cautious and making sure that the stuff is going to be high quality. So we will see. And give us a little grace. If it's not the most high quality, I'm sorry. But I'm doing my best here, guys. All right. Here on episode 343, we have a lot to get to. We will briefly discuss the college football playoff rankings. Not going to go into those near as much detail as we did last week because we do have a game to recap. Vanderbilt beat the Kentucky Wildcats 45-17, a drubbing in Nashville in a beautiful way for the seniors to close out their career in their final home game at First Bank Stadium. Me and Trevor will give our 3 key takeaways. Then we will discuss a little bit of Heisman talk. We're going to talk a little Heisman.
I got my ears to the streets right now.
Then we are going to, briefly, and this is no disrespect to what the boys are doing on the hardwood at all. We are going to briefly recap what we've seen from the basketball team before going into the TDR cocktail break. And then we are going to preview Rivalry Week, previewing Vanderbilt, heading to Knoxville, heading to Neyland to take on the Tennessee Volunteers. Me and Trevor will give our 3 keys to the game as well as our predictions. Then we will get to premium message board questions, which if you can guess, on Rivalry Week, we got a lot of premium message board questions to get to. So this will be a beefy episode, but we're gonna try to keep things moving along at a brisk pace. So Trevor, right now we just saw the CFP rankings before we get into segment 1. CFP rankings, Vanderbilt basketball ranked at number 24 in the AP poll, ranked for the first time this season. Big victory over Kentucky, but kind of overhanging, looming as a shadow and a cloud over the current state of Vanderbilt athletics is the CFP ranking. So, Trevor, give us a vibe check.
Yeah, man, I'm focused on the boys in the field. I'm focused on the upcoming game, but it is hard not to address the looming cloud over Vanderbilt that is the college football playoff and the college football playoff committee. They just continue to be stupid, man. I don't know what else to say. They continue to be a bunch of old white men. And like you said, some dudes.
Not all white men.
But really, just the issue is a bunch of old dudes who, as we previously said, simply scratch their balls and like throw shit at the wall and are like, yeah, this seems right. I'm not going to let that really derail me and derail how I feel about this season thus far and how I feel about this week. Focused on Tennessee. I'm thinking about the boys. Biggest Tennessee game ever?
In recent memory.
Question mark. I'm going to be at, man, I can't lie, dude. I'm always nervous this time of year whenever it's Tennessee week. So that docks the vibe. I'm going to go 8.5 because, like, we'll get into it later whenever we discuss the Tennessee game. I'm not going to lie. I don't hide from it. This is my personal Super Bowl. We're talking about national championship. Guys, you can think I'm dumb. I totally understand. This is my national championship. I know. And Will totally disagrees, and I totally understand. This is my national championship.
Yeah. I hate Tennessee as a rival as much as anybody. I just can't go to that extent.
Understandable.
Like, if you really look back, there was a part of me when Tennessee lost to Oklahoma that was seeing the dominoes fall how they would. And a part of me was like, damn, Tennessee. Like, I do hate you, but you couldn't get that done. That might hurt Vanderbilt later in the season. And unfortunately, if Tennessee would have beaten Oklahoma, things might look different in the CFP rankings. But that didn't happen. So before we get into segment 1 and all that I just laid out in the intro, we are now a part of the On3 Publisher Network. Visit thedoreport.com today and subscribe to a monthly or annual premium subscription and support TDR for access to premium content, as well as our premium message board behind closed doors. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Door Report. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to emphasize, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're just watching week in, week out, subscribe. Or if you're just watching occasionally, subscribe. Costs you nothing. Just click the subscribe button. Right now, click the subscribe button. We don't constantly post. It's just our podcast episodes we post. It's not constantly spamming you, not clips, not shorts. Maybe we'll get to clips later. I don't know. I don't have a lot of time. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. Our podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. And while you're at it, give our podcast 5 stars and a review on iTunes or Spotify. It's now time for segment 1.
It's my quarterback.
Welcome back into episode 343 of The Door Report, and welcome into segment 1. To start it off, it's the topic on everybody's mind. Tennessee Tech got absolutely screwed in the FCS college football playoff bracket. Tennessee Tech ranked universally almost top 7 across the coaches poll, across AP. 11-1 on the season, OVC champions. Their one loss coming to Kentucky, an SEC opponent. Tennessee Tech, top 7, every poll, the entire year. Number 13 in the FCS playoffs. Someone explain it. Maybe they know they're not going to get as much criticism. I believe there's a team that's 7-4, ranked higher than them.
Are you serious?
I could be wrong on that. We don't need to dig too much. I might be spreading misinformation.
I didn't know that we were going to start out
way,
with Tennessee Tech propaganda.
Either way, in solidarity, I am wearing a Tennessee Tech hat right now. Because the boys got screwed over. The Golden Eagles got screwed over. More people need to know about this. Screw the FCS playoff committee. It's not just the college football playoff committee. It's all a bunch of old dudes scratching the balls. No idea what they're doing.
If you're a committee full of nothing but old dudes, we hate you here.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And that even extends to politics. If I hear the word committee and it's just a bunch of old dudes, they suck. But yeah, maybe we should change our name from it should be the Door Report / what's y'all's mascot? The Golden Eagles?
Golden Eagles, baby.
The Golden Eagle Report. I was trying to think of something more clever, but I could. The Door Report. I tell you what, while you're looking at this, I don't think we get enough credit for how clever our name is.
It's good.
We have a great name. And the acronym TDR really rolls off the tongue. We have a great name. We might have the best name in all of sports podcasting, if I do say something.
Some are saying. Many are saying it could be the case. Yeah, I don't know. I could be spreading misinformation. I don't even know. Oh, South Dakota. I believe they are ahead of Tennessee Tech, if I am correct. Why are there so many ads on everything? Yeah, South Dakota is 11. South Dakota is 8-4.
If y'all can hear Phoebe in the background, I apologize. I do not know what is going on with her right now. She found a toy that she has not played with in 3 years, and she's all of a sudden decided that, hey, maybe I should start playing with this toy. It's got this loud-ass bell on it.
Classic. What are you going to do about it?
Just a total disruptor, dude.
Yeah, an 8-4 team is ranked ahead of 11-1 Tennessee Tech. I know Tennessee Tech's not in a major conference in the FCS. Still feels like 4 losses should tell you something.
What is up with just committees in general not respecting Middle Tennessee teams?
Yeah, MTSU
is there a Middle Tennessee hate going on being perpetrated by the national sports media?
Some are saying. Many are saying.
We might need to investigate this. We might need to launch an investigative report. We're going to stop investigating the Clark Lee extension and the Jared Curtis news. We are going to rather investigate why Tennessee Tech has been left out of the FCS playoffs.
They're not left out. They are in
Or
it.
why they're getting screwed in the rankings.
Yeah, getting screwed in the rankings. They are still a national seed, but not one of the teams that receives a bye and just disrespected with their ranking overall, if I have to say. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get to the FBS college football playoff rankings. Vanderbilt sitting at 14, remains the same again for the 3rd straight week. Or actually, yes, remains the same.
Mm-hmm.
We will not dig into it as much as we did last year. I do think there are some thoughts that both me and Trevor want to get off our chest. And if I miss anything here, feel free to take my hand and lead us forward. The issue I have overall with the rankings, and this is all excluding Notre Dame, because Notre Dame is just the aberration in this. Notre Dame is purely at number 9 because of the quote-unquote eye test. No resume, no metrics, anything outside of a completely made-up FBI that would put them where they are. They're just unquestioned number 9.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into that. The biggest part of this is I don't think necessarily in this argument I'm making that Vanderbilt is in the top 10. That's generally, I think generally outside of Notre Dame, the top 10 is probably right now. And if everything goes chalk this weekend, like we were discussing before the episode, that the teams are probably ranked where they should be outside of Notre Dame. The issue I have is the lack of logic of now how these teams have swapped places inside of the top 15, top 18, whatever you want to call it. Miami jumped Utah. Utah struggled against Kansas State, had to have kind of a miraculous comeback victory. They should still get credit for winning that game. However, against a fellow 5-5 team, just like Vanderbilt played, barely came back, won the football game. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Miami beat Virginia Tech by 17 points. Virginia Tech, of course, has fired their head coach, is hiring James Franklin, which I think is a home run hire. Virginia Tech's not a good football team. They're bad. Miami wins by 17, granted on the road against Virginia Tech, a common opponent that both Miami and Vanderbilt have played. Miami's win of 17 points over Virginia Tech is enough to jump them over Utah. However, Vanderbilt's 28-point victory over Kentucky, a higher FPI ranked team, is not enough to jump Vanderbilt over Utah, even though Vanderbilt beat that same Virginia Tech team on the road earlier in the season before they had fired their head coach by 24. The games at the beginning of the year, and I heard it being discussed between Booger McFarland and somebody else on ESPN.
I think it was Joey Gallo.
Yes, somebody on there talking about this is a different Notre Dame team than at the beginning of the year. Just use your eyes. This is a different Notre Dame team. Then why play the games at the beginning of the season?
Mm-hmm.
Either it counts at the beginning or it doesn't. Why should it count more at the end of the season than it counts at the beginning? Maybe you can put a little weight into it, as Phoebe is right in my face.
She's nuzzled up next to you.
I don't, that's the part I can't wrap my brain around. So Miami gets credit enough to jump over Utah with a victory over Virginia Tech on the road, who Vanderbilt beat by more points in a more dominant fashion at the beginning of the year. But just because it didn't happen last week, Vanderbilt doesn't jump Utah. But wait, Vanderbilt was up 45-3 over Kentucky heading into the fourth quarter. That wasn't enough to jump Utah. And both Miami and Utah's ADs being on the committee has nothing to do with that. They are so beyond any type of corruption. I mean, they exclude themselves from the room when those teams are being discussed. I mean, just get you. Do you think there would be that kind of – do you think that could influence anything? You're an idiot if you think that could influence anything, having them in the room on that committee. You're just dumb. I really had people in my mentions telling me that.
Yeah.
Like, idiot, did you know they removed themselves from the room during that discussion? Yeah, shut up. Dude, yeah, they do. That you think that has no influence? You shouldn't have ADs of teams that are in the college football playoff hunt on the bubble in that room at all.
Agreed.
Discussing anything. If your team is in the top 25, you should be removed from the committee.
Agreed.
It should only be ADs that have no dog in the hunt. I don't know why that's – you should have a committee of 12 and then another committee of 12 alternates that can step in. And the moment that your team is in the top 25, you're removed for an alternate. And then if that changes, you can be replaced back. But at that time, it can't happen.
Treat it like you do the Pro Bowl. If your team's in the Super Bowl, you don't get to participate in the Pro Bowl.
It's human nature. I'm not blaming anything on anybody, but that system doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They just shouldn't be involved. So it's not that right now, if everything goes as chalk, it's going to be one of those disappointing things that the season played out in such an odd fashion that Vanderbilt, even if they do beat Tennessee, which we will get into that game and our predictions and preview of that later, this season played out in an odd fashion. Still, there are things within this committee that just don't make sense.
Right.
And also, I think the biggest thing that has been pointed out, like we talked about, was you got to redo how these rules are written.
Yeah.
With the top 5 highest ranked conference champions receiving auto bids. That's broken it. That's broken. I think that will be rewritten.
Yeah.
I mean, this season has pointed out the flaws in that. They just never anticipated a conference being as bad as the ACC, but they love Miami.
Well, and it's like you said, like that has broken the playoff this year. So whenever each Tuesday, whenever they're like, oh, here's the top 12, here's the playoff field, they keep putting Miami in there. Guys, no, if the season ended right now, Miami's not in the playoff.
Yep.
If the season ended right now, BYU is not in the playoff. In order to get to the playoff this year, you have to be a top 10 team. And so they keep and I agree with you, and when we discussed this before, outside of Notre Dame, I think the top 10 is correct. I really have no issue with the committee's top 10. Really, at this point, is more principle than anything. That Vanderbilt's not being moved from the 11 to 13 range. And even if Vanderbilt got up to number 11, Vanderbilt in the season that right now, Vanderbilt's not in the playoff. It's just one of those weird years, man. It's just one of those very, very strange years that nobody predicted could be possible.
Odd situation. There's no point in just harping on this anymore. I mean, you can control what you can control, and Vanderbilt can't control the CFP rankings. Plenty of national analysts and people that talk about CFP as a whole will be discussing these in extreme great detail. Josh Pate does a great job breaking these down for On3 and on YouTube. There will be a lot of discussion about that, but we've said our piece last week. There's a lot of brand bias. It is what it is. It's traditional brand bias. It's fan-based bias because Vanderbilt's a very intriguing storyline this year and maybe have the biggest name in all of college football. But it's brand bias and traditional brand bias. And if there's one recipient of brand bias year in, year out, it's Notre Dame.
Can I ask you a question? And this will be the last thing I say about the playoff. They're clearly using this broken metric FPI that is a probability and predictor metric. Now, with that being said, do you think they are looking at each team's remaining schedule and ranking them based off the chances FPI gives them to win out? So, for example, if you look at FPI, Miami versus Pitt, I think Miami has like something crazy. It's like a 60-40% chance to win. Vanderbilt, if you look at FPI, is an underdog. I believe Tennessee has like a 55% chance to win. Do you think they're also basing the rankings off that percentage? And if Vanderbilt was to win this weekend, do you think that sort of flips it on its head? No.
Based on what I've said, I hope I'm wrong. I think they are mainly looking at FPI, and they're looking at wins and losses first. That's their number one, and then number two is FPI, and everything else is kind of extremely out the window. Like they're going to whatever fits their narrative after that, whether it's good losses, good wins. I haven't heard strength of record mentioned one time.
Mm-hmm.
That was taught. Am I losing my mind about that? That was talked about how important that metric was going to be.
It was a new metric that was proposed by the SEC that was adopted this offseason, and it was proposed because the SEC, sort of understandingly so, pitched a huge fit about 9-3 Alabama and South Carolina getting left out because, like, yeah, they're 9-3, but look at their strength of record, look at their strength of schedule, and so the committee decided to adopt that metric this year in a response to that. And it just, I don't know if it's been, I'm with you. I'm not sure it's been mentioned once.
I mean, and then it's where things get even more confusing, where that was what I thought last week. But then Miami jumps Utah, who Utah has a lower strength of record, but Utah has a better FPI. And is it recency bias? This is one of the things that I wish was more clear. Like the NCAA tournament committee made very clear. It used to be important how you performed in the final 10 games. Now it's not important. And that's not a factor. How you close the season isn't a factor. I don't think it should be. I think your record should be evaluated as an entire body of work. You don't weight games more at the end of the season. That's not how a full season should work. It's a season for a reason. I can't figure out one logical, coherent thought because Vanderbilt's strength of record is 11. And then when you look at FPI, this is where things get so flawed and why we say so consistently FPI is a broken metric that not just shouldn't be less weighted, like should not be used. Like throw it out. It has no purpose. Vanderbilt is 17. Tennessee is 16. Whatever. Tennessee is a 3-loss team. Vanderbilt's a 2-loss team. All Tennessee's losses have come against good teams. That's not where my issue lies. Just go 2 spots below Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Number 19, still in the FPI, is Penn State. Penn State. Like, I need that to sink in for people that have watched this season. Penn State is 5-6. and they're number 19 in the FPI. So truly, there just isn't that much that can happen on the field to adjust the FPI to a certain extent. And an even more shocking one, if you want to get like, what the hell is going on? Auburn is number 24 in ESPN's FPI. That metric shouldn't even be in the thought process of used. It's a broken metric just made by ESPN. I don't know why that's receiving so much weight and talked about as if it's a valid metric.
Yeah, and this is coming from somebody who loves quantitative analysis and does it every day and like has a legitimate passion for it. We have flown too close to the sun, and I don't mean this in any derogatory sense, but we have let the nerds take over football, and not just football, but sports to an extent to where you have lost the purity and the beauty of sports, that you've sucked out the human element. That doesn't matter who's the better team, doesn't matter the composite ratings, put the ball down to see who wins. That doesn't matter right now. Football and baseball and basketball are now games that are not played on turf or grass, but rather played on a piece of paper amongst like linear regression models. And that's not how sports are. And that's a true shame.
Yeah, and this isn't just college football. This is like a symptom of what we're talking about when all of this is being discussed. In college football rankings, one team is going to feel like they got screwed regardless. So we've said our piece. This is a Vanderbilt podcast. But to a larger extent, it's like all the discussion. I hate to bring up something that's like unrelated, but it's been on my mind so much. This is going to be a long episode. Sorry about it. There was this guy on Twitter. I don't even know who it is. He must be some fantasy football analytics guy in the NFL. This is a good example of what we're talking about. At Charles Chill FFB, Scott Connor, I don't know the guy from Adam, said people criticize Shadur Sanders after one quarter, yet J.J. McCarthy and Cam Ward continually suck every single week. Somebody responded, somebody isn't watching the Titans today, LOL. And this same guy, Scott Connor, at Charles Chill FFB, says, why would I? I'll check the passing/dropback efficiency data after the game. That's a lot of how these analysts, and that's an NFL example, but that's a lot of analysts. That's a lot of people you see talking about college sports. They don't sit down and watch all the games, then look at the data after and say, okay, I thought I saw that quarterback struggling, or I thought I saw that pressure rate was down, or I thought he was doing some bad decision making. So I'm checking the advanced analytics to confirm or deny what my eyes saw. They're just using the analytics, which doesn't tell the whole story. Just like if you looked at a box score doesn't tell you the whole story. Sometimes a box score can tell you exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Diego Pavia's box score against Kentucky tells you exactly what happened. But oftentimes that's not the case. Sometimes it makes players look better. Sometimes it makes them look worse. And we're just lost in this world where now so many people pretend to be experts that just check a giant Excel spreadsheet or a Power BI dashboard and think they're an expert on every single team across the country.
Or just regurgitate whatever they see the one PFF writer they follow tweet about without actually understanding the nuance behind it.
Yeah, PFF grades are another thing. PFF grades
are
they're
great.
Oh, they're part of the story. They're part of the story. But you can't just look at PFF grades. It doesn't tell the whole story. Just like you can't just – you're not able to watch every single game, every minute of every single game, every single week, unless you are like the most sicko or autistic person in the world. You're not going – you literally can't. They're on at the same time. So sometimes you have to default to that, but it can't be what you're looking at by default. It should be the last thing you go to. But so often you're seeing people just look at those metrics and say and make their decision before even watching teams. And that's across everything. It's not just Vanderbilt. I'm not talking about it Vanderbilt. It's a frustrating part of discourse on social media right now with athletics. The only people that you have that aren't behind troll accounts, which is basically 80-90% of it now. Like it used to be like more of a 50-50, 60-40, that you had real people discussing sports and then you had troll accounts. Now it's just troll accounts. That's all social media is anymore. It's why you need to subscribe to On3 and go to Behind Closed Doors and actually talk some ball with sensical people. But yeah, I think there's been a downturn. I feel like sports Twitter used to be like you had great shit talk. and you also had like great debate and discussion. And now, unfortunately, sports social media has followed the way of politics social media, where it's just who can throw the most shit at a wall to see what sticks versus actual good debate going on.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any coming back from that, to be honest. That's a little tangent. I just wanted to go on here.
No, I think as a sports society and as a sports community, we truly have flown too close to the sun.
It's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to the recap of a positive thing, which was Vanderbilt's final home game of the 2025 regular season. Vanderbilt defeated the Kentucky Wildcats 45-17. And to be honest, that final score doesn't really do the game justice. Vanderbilt was up 45-3 going into the fourth quarter. Vanderbilt pulled almost all of their starters, about 8 to 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Kentucky got some. One of them wasn't a garbage time touchdown. It's just a good drive by Kentucky.
Yeah.
One of them was the definition of a garbage, like it scored with 3 seconds left on the clock against Vanderbilt's third team. Kentucky was still running hurry up with their starters in the game. Under 2 minutes left in the game, down 45-10.
That was kind of weird.
Which I was in the stands and whatever. I'm not like upset. Upset is a whole different. I was confused because it would be one thing if Kentucky was sitting at 4-6 and this game would eliminate them from bowl contention. But they have Cutter Boley, their redshirt freshman quarterback, all of their starters still in the field with their rivalry game against Louisville coming up and bowl eligibility hanging in the balance.
After Cutter Boley also already had his brain scrambled.
Yeah, you would think that part of you would be like, okay, let's pull the starters and get them ready and not risk any injury next week for a game that could make us bowl eligible against our in-state rival.
Yeah.
That was a weird decision by Mark Stoops. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
That was
very,
strange.
very odd. If I always like to place myself in the shoes of the opposing fan base. If that was Vanderbilt in that exact situation, like we have Tennessee next week. Why is Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers and Cedric Alexander and Junior Sherrill and Troy Richardson? Why are we running hurry up right now? This game is over.
Mm-hmm.
This game has been over. This isn't like there's 12, 14 minutes left in the fourth and you're down 35 points. There's less than 2 minutes left. Like people love to use the term stranger things have happened. No, literally stranger things have not happened.
Yeah.
That would be the strangest thing in the history
Yeah.
of sports if Kentucky had come back. And of course they didn't. They scored with 3 seconds left, made the final score 45-17. Vanderbilt basically dominated from the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
The defense, and we will get to a lot of this in our keys to the game. The defense was smothering from the beginning, forced, I believe, 5 straight stops, 4 straight punts, and then an interception to start out the game. Vanderbilt was up 24-3 at the end of the first half. 2 interceptions by the Vanderbilt defense in the first half alone. Granted, one of those was on a Hail Mary at the end of the game. The defense did a great job after some not so great performances from the defense and made me look a little foolish for one of my takes. But shout out to the defense. Kentucky was coming off a 3-game win streak. We did discuss that quite a bit, and Vanderbilt made that look like that was a complete fluke.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt just looked like the better football team.
Makes you wonder how just because they've been through a gauntlet, and it makes you wonder how much of that bye was a real get right moment for them in terms of just like health.
Get rested, get healthy. And also I think Kentucky just isn't that. I mean, there was a lot of hype built around beating Florida, beating Auburn, beating Tennessee Tech. Those are not elite teams. And shout out to Mark Stoops for not losing the locker room.
And hanging pretty close with Tennessee. Like Cutter Boley threw for almost 400 yards against Tennessee.
Yeah, and this is one of the cases the box score doesn't do it justice. I'm not going to read the stats off because we have our keys to get to. Cutter Boley ended up throwing for about 280 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks on 26 of 44 passing. Most of that came late. Like almost all of that came late in the game. Vanderbilt, for an extended period of time, I believe the whole first half had Kentucky under 100 total yards of offense. Vanderbilt's defense was smothering and forced 3 interceptions. Trevor, do you want to get to our 3 key takeaways or got anything to add?
No, I'm ready for 3 keys.
Okay, so I do want to say the environment in First Bank before you forget. What a way to close out the season. It was great. It's what these seniors deserved.
Yes.
Granted, the student section wasn't good, but that's because they were on Thanksgiving break. It is what it is. Just tough timing. A lot of international and out-of-state students. But the environment inside of First Bank, what a way to close it out. Sketch pulled up to the tailgate.
Oh, my gosh.
Want to go random.
That was a fever dream, dude. We're just all hanging out, standing around, enjoying some pregame beers and burgers. All of a sudden, here comes Miller McKee with Sketch and a crew that have cameras. And we'll just kind of look around and we're like, Hold on. Is this what's going on right now?
Yeah, that was one, like, we're too old. We don't watch streaming people like that. I don't know. Maybe you do.
I don't.
I
But I
don't.
understood the gravity of like,
Yeah.
this is like a legitimate like A-list celebrity at
in the
tailgate.
streaming world.
in the world of the internet.
An A-list internet celebrity. Let's put it
Yeah.
like that. That's where the deviation needs to happen. But yeah, this is like an A or B plus list internet celebrity. Pulled up the tailgate, shotgun to beer. We got a picture with him in lot 2. Great time. Was super nice.
Yeah, great guy.
I feel like he was like, holy shit, this is a lot of chaos going on as people started chanting his name and then started to do a VU chant right after that. But it was a great last tailgate.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miller McKee for running the tailgates all season. Shout out to DJ Keys for providing the music all season. Shout out to everybody that showed up and made it a special season, not just on the field, but off the field, tailgating. It was our best year yet.
Yeah,
of
we
tailgates.
need to give a real shout out to Miller.
Somebody
Yes, the man.
that goes through hell and back every Friday and Saturday to make sure that this tailgate happens, to make sure hundreds of people are fed and taken care of. Shout out to him. He deserves all the credit in the world, dude. I came home. I was upstairs Saturday evening, watching some football. I come downstairs and I just see Miller in his overalls, just sitting on the couch with his eyes closed. And I thought, yeah, dude,
He rests now.
hey, rest now, brother. We have to watch. I'll see you in Valhalla.
A very unsung hero of TDR. I mean, he's doing all the gritty, dirty work behind the scenes. Granted, my pocket's not doing great from those tailgates, but yeah, Miller's the one putting in the time. He gets all this stuff ready. It comes off as so effortless that of course they have food. Of course they have beer if somebody wasn't able to bring beer. Of course they have sodas and waters and all that stuff. And they got the tent set up and the tables and snacks.
And TVs.
And they got the games going. Like, that's just a given. Well, somebody does that.
Yeah.
And we help, but Miller is the man that does it. So he deserves all the credit in the world. Trevor, let's get to our 3 key takeaways from the Kentucky game. Of course, Vanderbilt won 45-17, moved to 9-2 on the season. Last time I did not take the most obvious takeaway. This time, unfortunately for you, Trevor, I am taking the most obvious takeaway.
You gave me a layup last week.
I have to. There is no other key takeaway. Number one draft pick of this, and it's just Diego Pavia. In a cinematic moment, I don't know how else to describe it. Diego Pavia had his best performance throwing the football, just maybe overall cleanest performance of his entire career in his final home game as a Vanderbilt Commodore. 33 of 39 for 484 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick that,
Wasn't his fault.
wasn't fully his fault. 1 pick, 92.3 QBR, also 15 carries for 48 yards, the team's leading rusher, and a touchdown. 6 touchdowns responsible for. Was close to as perfect as you can possibly be. I don't want to offend any old heads, but I'm gonna, and I don't care. And I know the recent history of guys that you would put at this forefront. Trust me, I do. Jordan Matthews, Earl Bennett. We can go down a list of other guys. Diego Pavia is the best player to ever wear black and gold. I'm sorry. At least since the 1950s, 1960s. Now, before that, or even before the 70s, I can't tell you. It's a whole different era.
If somebody comments, says, well, what about Bill Wade? Please shut the hell up.
Diego Pavia is legitimately a Heisman contender.
Yeah.
Has led this team to a 9-2 record. And I don't know if there's ever been a player, maybe anywhere, that has changed the perspective and narrative on an entire program more than Diego Pavia. And no, he hasn't done it alone. I'm not saying that at all. But he's been at the forefront of it. The guy that at the beginning of the year wasn't afraid to say that Vanderbilt's going to be competing for a national championship. I'm going to be at the forefront of the Heisman race. And he got mocked and clowned by everyone. And has just come out there and put on a show week in, week out. Yeah, he's had some performances that weren't perfect, but those have been few and far between. We are witnessing the player right now that people are going to be talking about in 20, 30, 40 years. And that's Diego Pavia. Were you there when Diego Pavia was the quarterback? That's what we were able to witness, was his final home game, a legendary performance. Diego Pavia, the best player to ever wear the Vanderbilt Commodore uniform. Argue with Wall.
You know what?
And I did not say that before the year or even halfway through the year.
Yeah.
That I was not one. I was still Jordan Matthews for me. But much respect to Jordan Matthews and Earl Bennett and all those guys. Diego Pavia has been on a whole different level, and it also helps being at the most important position on the field, quarterback.
I don't think it makes for good podcasting for us to double up on a take, but I think Diego Pavia, and this is not I actually have like 4 takes, but Diego Pavia is worthy of doubling up on a take. And I don't put that lightly. I totally agree. Diego Pavia is the greatest Vanderbilt football player of all time. I would make the argument as well, if you want to consider all of Vanderbilt athletics, I'm going to make a stand right here. Diego Pavia is the most important Vanderbilt athlete in Vanderbilt University history. We have never, ever, ever, and I know people are going to say David Price. I know people are going to say Dansby Swanson. We have never seen somebody like Diego Pavia take something that was so dead and become a catalyst for change and completely, like you said, change the narrative around in legitimately the moment he stepped on campus. The narrative around Vanderbilt football was changed last year, and that was after going 7-6. People looked at Vanderbilt football and looked at Diego Pavia like, man, they got a real club down there. Diego Pavia has, and I agree, it's not been him totally, but you're a fool if you don't think that it's 80-90% Diego Pavia that has absolutely changed not just the current state of Vanderbilt athletics, but the current trajectory of Vanderbilt athletics in terms of the commitment that boosters have given to NIL, to the facility upgrades that have been recently announced, to the people that Vanderbilt is targeting, not just on the high school recruiting trail, but in the transfer portal this upcoming cycle. Diego Pavia has been a catalyst for that all. Diego Pavia has made the Vanderbilt brand, the V that Vanderbilt wears in their helmet, a nationwide symbol. Now, because of Diego Pavia, you can put up this V that is on these helmets anywhere in America, and people are going to say that's Vanderbilt football. And that's not an exaggeration. And for the first time ever, it looks like, I don't want to jinx it, but we are going to have a player who represents Vanderbilt University and Vanderbilt football in New York for the Heisman race. This is truly unprecedented. And like I said, it doesn't make for great podcasting to double up on the same talking point, but there is nobody, and I mean this, nobody more deserving of this than Diego Pavia.
Yeah, and we're not trying to just say things for the sake of appealing to Vanderbilt fans' egos. I mean, like, you know what? You're right. Diego Pavia is that good. It's like, you can bring up Dansby Swanson and David Price. Look, David Price, incredibly important. It's also baseball, and he was a pitcher. And you can bring up Dansby Swanson. That program was already a damn good program.
Yes.
Before Dansby Swanson got there. Diego Pavia came in this Vanderbilt football program. Man, you were looking at the future. Like, what is this going to be? And Diego Pavia isn't just a star in the Vanderbilt community. He isn't just a star in the SEC community. That's where guys like Jordan Matthews, that they were very well-known players and very respected in the SEC. And super diehard college football fans knew who Jordan Matthews was. Deservedly so. All-time SEC receptions leader. He deserved it. Hell of a player. Diego Pavia is a national star on a scale Vanderbilt has never had in modern history.
He's a household name.
He is a household name. He's, if not one of the top 3 to 5 biggest names in all of college football, and you could argue he's number 1. And NIL store sales will tell you he is number 1. And the player that people are flocking to, he's the type of player that people become fans of a program because of. Vanderbilt's never had that before. So it's not good podcasting, whatever you want to say. And it's maybe people would take this out of context and say, oh, it's just Vanderbilt fans ball washing Diego Pavia. Dude, if you've sat through Vanderbilt football your entire life and watched these games week in, week out, he's changed everything for this program and how they view themselves and brought a level of confidence that has just changed everything. So that's both of our key takeaways number 1, key takeaway number 1s, whatever you call it, and deservedly so. So I'm going to get to something a little more broad on my key takeaway number 2. We talked about the college football playoff, and that obviously is at the forefront of people's minds. I can't blame you if it's at the forefront of your mind. It's changed how people view things. It is what it is. I just want to emphasize what this season has been, because oftentimes you talk about historic seasons and you go back in time, and it's, Vanderbilt's been in the basement of college football, not just the SEC, but college football for a lot of years. This season so far, what you have seen is not just historic, like, oh man, it hasn't been done since the early 2000s. It hasn't been done since the 90s. This is a historic season on a level that's almost impossible to have anymore. Vanderbilt, undefeated at home, 7-0, undefeated at home for the first time since 1982. The team that you always hear about, the 1982 Hall of Fame Bowl team. It's what you always hear about. Vanderbilt, 9 regular season wins, tying for the most in the history of the program. 9 regular season wins for the first time since 1915. I just need that to be emphasized, regardless of how next week goes. And on top of that, next week, you have a chance of winning 10 games for the first time in program history. Ever. Take the college football playoff away. That's ever. That's something that I don't think Vanderbilt fans even had in their minds was a possibility, winning 10 games. And like, you can take this and call it lame, whatever. This is a Vanderbilt podcast. I don't think Vanderbilt fans ever saw that as a possibility where it's like, man, it would be great if you could get to go an 8-4.
Yeah.
10-2 is an elite season.
Yeah.
It's an elite season. You are in the college football playoff discussion. Just the greatness of the season, everyone has a tendency to look back a couple years down the road and say, man, that was a hell of a time. We've done it with not so great teams. We did it during a 3-year stretch in the Derek Mason era and said, man, when you had Keyshawn Vaughn and Kyle Shermer and Pinckney and Lipscomb, man, those were fun teams to watch. This is a whole different level of fun team to watch. Just take a moment, appreciate what you have seen this year, and understand still on the horizon is literally historic success. You're already having historic success. You're having unprecedented historic success if you can go into Neyland and beat Tennessee next week. So I just want my key takeaway number 2 to be historic season is already cemented, and there's an opportunity to make it even more historic on the horizon. So that's my key takeaway number 2. Nothing to do specifically with that game, but just the season as a whole.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up. You think about this season, you bring up, you're like, oh, it hasn't been done since the 2000s. You go back to 1915. The last time Vanderbilt did this, nobody who witnessed it is alive today. There's nobody alive from 1915. They're all dead. Everybody who got to experience that season is dead. They do not exist anymore. If Vanderbilt can get a win this weekend, we will witness something that nobody in the history of Mother Earth has ever witnessed. Think about that. When you put it in that context, it's insane, and I totally agree. I am going to look at the game, and this is going to be a little bit of, I say a little bit of chalk, very chalk, but it's something I brought up earlier. My key takeaway number 2 is, man, the defense looks like they're back, and I don't want to make a snap judgment call over one game. I think that's very dangerous, especially after what you've seen from Vanderbilt's defense the previous 2 games. But I really do think getting that bye week, because whenever you look at the schedule, it's like, man, Vanderbilt's defense sort of went through a gauntlet. And I think it was important that they take this previous bye week to get right and to get healthy and just to rest and kind of get their legs back underneath them. And it looks like they did. And this Vanderbilt defense came out in particular and dominated this game from start to finish. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people who say, oh, well, it's Kentucky. They're not a great offense. I'll give that to you. Totally give that to you. This is also the same defense that Auburn go up and down the field on them. And this is a Kentucky offense that went up and down the field on Tennessee's defense. Now, you say Tennessee doesn't have a great defense. They went up and down the field on Florida. This is a pretty good, a fairly decent Kentucky offense. Vanderbilt stifled them. I think this is a really, really good sign for the Vanderbilt defense, and I think that this is some momentum that they can carry into this Tennessee game and also into the postseason.
I'm glad you took defense because it lets me actually give my final. Well, I really have 2 written down here. One's a credit and one's just an interesting observation. So I'll give the credit one that's actually a takeaway fully from this game really quickly. The wide receivers were fantastic. That's something that Vanderbilt really has. The wide receivers have been solid. I wouldn't say good, but have been solid. I think better than our expectations going into the year, for sure. Junior Sherrill's been solid. Terry Richardson has been solid, maybe a slight bit inconsistent, but he's been solid. Richie's been solid. This game, they were fantastic. Your top 3 receivers, Richardson, Sherrill, and Hoskins combined for over 300 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. You had this incredible day from Diego Pavia, and it wasn't run through Eli Stowers.
No.
That's a big takeaway from this game. Trey Richardson was incredible. Junior Sherrill was incredible. Trey Richardson, 6 catches, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. Sherrill, 8 catches, 115 yards, 1 touchdown.
Richie was incredible.
And then Richie had the 1 catch for 32 yards and a touchdown. It was the catch of the day. Just an incredible catch from Richie Hoskins. Hell of a pass, but an even better catch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take anything that you were going to say.
No, go. That's not my third
Okay.
takeaway. So go off, King.
The last one here is not related to the receivers. I wanted to get that positive. Just something interesting from the game that this is when the box score does confirm what you were watching.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt just abandoned the run game. And I'm saying that is, it's not a positive. It's not a negative. They just did. It didn't work early and they just abandoned it. They just said, we're going to let Diego win the game. I mean, you look at the running backs. Seti had 4 total carries for 7 yards. MK Young had 1 carry. Laster late in the game, 1 carry. Dominic Rizak, very late in the game, 1 carry. Really, your running backs in the meaningful parts of the game had 5 total carries. They just put the ball in Diego Pavia's hands and said, win it. And they won it. And they dominated. So this narrative that you just stack the box and make Vanderbilt beat you through the air, they don't have the playmakers on the outside, well, that's out the window. Vanderbilt's more than happy to beat you through the air if that's what you're willing to give up. And Vanderbilt torched Kentucky. So that's my kind of 3/4 takeaway. I know it's 3 key takeaways, but the receivers were fantastic, and they kind of proved that wrong, and it carries into the other thing that Vanderbilt just abandoned the run game in this game, and the offense dominated.
Yeah. Isn't that a little bit – some might take that as concerning. However, I'm going to flip it on its head. Don't you find that kind of optimistic that there's been this whole narrative, even going back to last year, the way you beat Vanderbilt is you stop the run. And Vanderbilt has totally flipped on its head and said, we've played games this year to where if we want, we can run the ball and we can choke you out. We can play old school bully ball. If we don't want to do that, we can spread you out. We can bomb you over top, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. This is a very, very multifaceted Vanderbilt offense, and they can beat you in multiple ways. And I think that's a hallmark of an elite team. I'm going to stay on the defensive side of the ball. I've really harped on Stephen Gregory. I know a lot of us have really harped on Stephen Gregory the past couple weeks. I want to highlight something that I found very, very encouraging from this past weekend. I thought the blitz packages that he brought against Kentucky were nothing short of sensational. Vanderbilt consistently, now you wish that Vanderbilt would get more pressure with their front four. I totally agree. However, the exotic blitzes, the simulated pressure, the stunts that he brought against Kentucky and Cutter Boley, I saw a lot of blitzes from Randon Fontenette. I saw a lot of cornerback blitzes. I loved how he used C.J. Hurd in that pass rush game. I was very, very, very encouraged from what I saw out of Stephen Gregory and out of these blitz packages that Vanderbilt ran. Got to Cutter Boley, made him uncomfortable, sacked him a couple times. If they couldn't sack him, they hit him. They couldn't hit him. They at least made him uncomfortable and collapsed the pocket. I thought that was super, super reassuring, especially going into this upcoming game that we're about to preview, to where if you get pressure on Joey Aguilar, he hasn't been great, and that's putting it lightly.
It's tough getting pressure on him. But when when teams have gotten pressure on him, that's when he struggles to make bad decisions.
Kind of collapses.
So that is our 3 key takeaways from Vanderbilt's 45-17 victory over Kentucky, a dominant performance to close out the home stretch of the regular season. Still one more game on the horizon. Really quickly, we've already talked about it with Diego Pavia, his performances, the current Heisman odds. This is from a graphic from Yahoo Sports. Currently, the odds are Fernando Mendoza, -105 for the Heisman. He's clearly the front runner. Right now, I would say deserved, whatever. This is the gambling odds. Jeremiah Love +375, Julian Sayin +400, Diego Pavia +600. Then Marcel Reed has fallen quite a bit back at +1300. So according to Vegas, there is a clear top 4 right now, which that's how many are invited to New York for the ceremony. So Diego Pavia is sitting in that 4th spot. But right now, if he comes out and has a good performance against Tennessee, it's looking like Diego Pavia has a good chance of being in New York. Then when you go to the actual stats, this is the part that, you're there's a lot of nuance. It's not all stats. Like, that's the big part of this. I fully understand that. But even then, you're like, who is the most important player to their team? It's Diego Pavia in this situation, obviously. Total yards. Diego Pavia is leading all of them. Diego Pavia's stats right now, total yards 3,585, a 71.8% completion percentage, 2,924 yards through the air, leading all those candidates, 26 touchdowns through the air, 6 interceptions, also leading all of them in rush yards. This is Marcel Reed, Mendoza, and Sayan I'm comparing against. Diego Pavia, 661 rush yards, 8 touchdowns. His stats, all the criticism was he doesn't have the stats. Well, now he has the stats. Now, he doesn't have the signature win, you could say, and I think that's what's kind of holding him back. But, I mean, Diego Pavia, if he goes out and performs well against Tennessee, I think you will see Diego Pavia in New York.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to use the signature win argument, what's Marcel Reed's signature win? A comeback to where in the first half we saw maybe the worst 30 minutes of quarterback play I've ever seen in my life.
That's why he plummeted.
Yeah. I mean, Julian Sayin, what's his signature win? Texas, to where he kind of shit the bed. It's not like he looked great against Texas. Fernando Mendoza, probably make the argument Oregon. I think that's a fair argument.
I mean, there's a reason Mendoza's minus 105.
Yeah.
There is. We're not going to argue that
I'm not going to
necessarily.
argue that, but I think the argument of like a signature game, I think this year that's bullshit. And I would say that even if Diego Pavia was not in the Heisman race, I would say that's like a bullshit argument. And that's not against you, but like talking heads as we get closer and closer to New York, they're like, signature win. And I really do. I think that's a bullshit argument.
Yeah. Just wanted to get that discussion out there before we get to it. And a lot of this depends on how Diego performs against Tennessee. Because if he comes out, doesn't have a good performance, that's going to be out the window. I don't expect that to happen, but just had to bring that up. And last, we will get to very briefly before we go to the TDR cocktail break, a little bit of basketball talk. Vanderbilt once again scored over 100 points against another very high-quality opponent. In Texas Southern, Vanderbilt beat Texas Southern in dominant fashion, 109-74. That win moved them up to number 24 in the AP poll rankings. They are still a Ken Palm sweetheart. Vanderbilt tomorrow, or when you're listening to this today, at 11 a.m. in the Battle for Atlantis, takes on, I believe, undefeated Western Kentucky. That'll be an interesting game. Really, you could say, even though still according to ESPN's matchup predictor, Vanderbilt has a 92.6% chance to win, but we know that metric is very flawed across all sports. A challenge for Vanderbilt in the Battle for Atlantis, and that'll be an interesting one to watch tomorrow. I mean, the basketball's still the same. We will be digging way more into basketball. The team looks outstanding so far. Still kind of this. You saw Mason Nicholson back in the court, back from his sickness. That's nice to see.
He's thick, man.
Guard play is outstanding. Tyler Tanner looks incredible. Duke Miles looks great.
I think Duke Miles might be my favorite player on this team.
Tyler Harris looks outstanding. Tyler Nickel looks exactly like you want Tyler Nickel to look. Devin McLaughlin looks how you want McLaughlin to look. The A.K. Okereke looks solid. Jalen Washington looks solid. This team overall just looks really solid.
Yeah.
And you've seen this without Frankie Collins, who's been out the last couple of games as well.
Yeah.
A key piece. So I don't want to dig too much into basketball, but so far, very promising what you've seen out of year 2 under Mark Byington. We'll dig more into that as the season progresses. Anything you want to add there?
Yeah. Sorry we're not talking basketball, guys. We're dealing with a historic Vanderbilt football season. I also don't think anybody's like, why won't you talk more basketball?
People understand.
The real ones understand.
We've been giving it due every time we've had a chance. Also, the women's basketball team is rolling. We never talk women's basketball, but it's
Shout out to
rolling.
my dog Shay.
All right, everybody out there, grab yourself a delicious hot or cold beverage, and we'll be right back after the TDR cocktail break. Welcome back into episode 343 of The Door Report, and welcome into segment 2. We have the Tennessee preview to get into on Rivalry Week. We've made Trevor's 3 keys to the game, our predictions, and then we have premium message board questions where I'm sure we will deep dive into this game as well as some other topics. First up, Vanderbilt's got Tennessee, Vanderbilt sitting at 9-2. Tennessee sitting at 8-3. Vanderbilt currently sitting, according to Vegas, on BetMGM as a 3-point underdog. Over under at about what was the over under? 63.5. Is that right?
That sounds about right.
Somewhere around there. It shifted a little bit, but Vanderbilt's a 3-point underdog. Tennessee, I mean, anybody listening to this podcast is either a Tennessee or a Vanderbilt fan for the most part. I mean, you know what Tennessee is. The Josh Heupel up-tempo offense. The defense this year for Tennessee has struggled a lot more than they did last year. Joey Aguilar has been better than a lot of people expected, including me. He's been a lot better than I expected. I'm not going to pretend. You got some good weapons on the outside for Tennessee as well. Joey Aguilar on the year is thrown for 3,145 yards, 23 touchdowns, but 10 interceptions. On the outside, catching the football, Tennessee has some dogs. Not going to lie to you. Chris Brazel, 56 catches, 928 yards, 8 touchdowns. He's a weapon on the outside. Vanderbilt's probably going to have Martell Height on him. Braylon Staley, 58 catches, 771 yards, 6 touchdowns. Mike Matthews, big play guy, has had some drop issues throughout the season. Tennessee fans won't argue that. 44 catches, 712 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then their tight end, Kitzelman, I think he's healthy. Ow, don't bite me, Phoebe. I think he's healthy. Had what appeared to be a bad
It was
leg
like a
injury,
knee or
injury.
ankle. Yeah.
We will know more tomorrow when the injury report drops. Unfortunately, we don't have that in front of us. Everything that I've read or seen is he's going to be playing. He's a weapon at the tight end position. Phoebe, you going to chill out? Tennessee's defense is what has struggled this year. Both teams, Vanderbilt and Tennessee, honestly, on defense have struggled. 2 very elite offenses.
Yeah.
Funny enough, points per game, Tennessee averaging 39.3 points per game against FBS opponents, 7th in the country. Vanderbilt's offense, 8th in the country against FBS opponents, averaging 38.3 points per game. Tennessee's defense slightly worse than Vanderbilt. Tennessee's defense giving up 28.3 points per game against FBS opponents, 85th. Vanderbilt giving up 23.6, 48th. An interesting stat, I don't really know how interesting, but kind of just intriguing. FBS opponents. Vanderbilt is number 1 in the country in most pass attempts as a percentage of plays, most pass plays as a percentage of plays against them. Vanderbilt has the least runs against them as well as the most passes against them. I think that tells you a lot about Vanderbilt's defense. Strong run defense, not so strong passing defense. I didn't even hit on Tennessee's running backs. They have some solid guys back there as well.
Yeah.
Deshaun Bishop, really solid running back, 143 carries, 886 yards, averaging 6.2 yards per carry, as well as 12 touchdowns. They also have a solid 1-2 punch. Star Thomas, solid running back as well, 94 carries, 529 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Former teammate of Diego Pavia and MK Young.
Yep. All of Tennessee's leading tacklers are linebackers. Edwin Spillman, Arion Carter, really solid player, Jeremiah Talander. So you kind of know what you're getting with Tennessee. It's the up-tempo offense. They're going to get dominated in time of possession. That does not matter to them. They don't care about time of possession. This is one. Maybe you'll have it as yours. Time of possession is not a key to this game.
No.
Tennessee can possess the ball for 30% of the game and still win a game by 3+ scores.
Agreed.
That does not matter to them. They don't care about that metric. That's what makes the Josh Heupel system very unique. And has some benefits and some drawbacks. Depending on how you look at it, the defense is out there quite a bit for Tennessee. So right now, Vanderbilt and Tennessee very evenly ranked according to ESPN's flawed FPI metric. Tennessee at 16, Vanderbilt at 17. Tennessee at 19, I believe, according to the CFP rankings. Vanderbilt at 14. Really highly touted rivalry weekend matchup. Outside of Ohio State, Michigan, I think probably the most anticipated one. Am I missing any?
In the Iron Bowl, but
yeah,
but this one has potentially more implications than the Iron Bowl.
Yeah,
the Iron Bowl could.
The Iron Bowl is always great because there's always chaos, but Auburn's not good this year.
Yeah, but Auburn could keep Alabama out of a for sure playoff spot.
Yeah, the difference is Vanderbilt and Tennessee are both good this year. Right. That's the main where you have 2 good rivals playing each other, and some of the rivalry week stuff has been diluted by the conference realignment, so you're not getting to see some of the rivalry games you otherwise should see, unfortunately. And that's money in college football, so that fucking sucks, but it is what it is. The game kicks off at 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN for those not making the trip to Knoxville. I will be in Knoxville. Trevor will be in Knoxville. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully nobody tries to beat our ass like they say they are going to on Twitter.
so many tweets of dudes. Got so many tweets and DMs of dudes being like, I'm gonna beat your ass when I see you in Knoxville. I was like, all right, man. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, let's
We'll see. If I come back bloodied and bruised, we'll see. It won't be my first time getting stitches in the hospital. So
yeah,
I don't care.
Just let it rip, baby.
Yep. We'll tell you one thing. I'm not catching a charge in Knoxville. I don't care that much.
I tell you, I don't. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I ain't getting arrested in
Yeah.
Knoxville, Tennessee. So do what you got to do, I guess.
Yeah, beat my ass, brother. Is what it is. I've been there a lot of times.
I've got more to live for than I think many of the people who are threatening to fight me do.
Yeah. Well, you live in that location. I've said it. It's not related to. I don't like that city.
Yeah.
I dated somebody that lived in that. I don't like that city. I do not like Knoxville as a city in general. It is what it is. I didn't go to school there. I bet it's a fun college town to be in. But as far as being an adult going to the city, yeah, rough place. All right, Trevor, we've given kind of a very brief rundown of the Tennessee Vanderbilt game. At this point of the season, if you're Vanderbilt or Tennessee and you're listening to this,
you're familiar with
you're
the opponents.
familiar with Tennessee. You're familiar with opponents. You're a sicko if you're listening to this podcast. That's what we love here. We love sickos. So gave the brief rundown. You want to get to 3 keys to victory / 3 keys to the game?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm going first, as that has been the good luck.
We've
charm.
had great luck with you going first.
So this might be contradictory in some ways, but at the same time, I don't think it is. It's just a nuanced discussion here. I don't want Vanderbilt to allow Tennessee to nickel and dime them down the field because Tennessee will happily do that in their up-tempo offense. They'll still have 2-minute touchdown drives, so you let them pick up 5 to 8 yards a pop. So you can't let that happen. But I think a key to this game is going to be preventing big plays through the air. Tennessee does not have a good kicker. Tennessee fans will agree. They do not have a good kicker in Max Gilbert. In fact, their field goal conversion rate is near the outside of the top 100. They are 98th in the country in field goal conversion rate, converting just 71.43% of their field goals. Vanderbilt needs to play, and I hate that I'm saying this, a version of a bend but don't break defense. You still have to send pressure. You still have to get pressure on the quarterback, but the key to this is you can't have those 50, 60, 70-yard touchdown plays. You have to make Tennessee earn it in the red zone. Their run game is not as elite as it was last season. Their passing game, probably a little better than it was last season. You have to make Tennessee earn it. Don't let them have those big momentum-building plays in this offense. Make them earn it. And Joey Aguilar has shown a tendency to turn the football over if you make them earn it. So prevent the big play. Easier said than done with all the nuances I added, but that's my key number 1 to the game.
Yeah, I totally agree. For my key number 1, I'm going to stay on the offense, or I'm going to flip over to the offensive side of the ball. What I saw in that Tennessee-Florida game, I thought was really interesting from Tennessee's defense. Tennessee ran a lot of 3 linebacker packages. It looked like that was something they were comfortable with, and to their credit, they had a lot of success with it against Florida. Take that as you may. Florida stinks. Like I said, take that as you may. I am fascinated to see if Tennessee sticks to this concept. I think if they do, they are going to have to put Arion Carter in coverage on Eli Stowers. I think if Tennessee wants to play that type of game, I truly do think that spells disaster for Tennessee. If they want to put somebody like T-Lander on Cole Spence or Arion Carter on Eli Stowers or vice versa, I think that is a huge, huge mismatch and a huge, huge advantage for Vanderbilt. So I think a key to victory for this game is I think you're going to have to really, really see something out of Eli Stowers and Cole Spence. I mean, for Vanderbilt to win this game, they're going to have big games.
I like that one. I'm going to go with something we talked about, or I kind of mentioned in my takeaways from the Kentucky game about Vanderbilt going away from the ground game. And it's going to be simply keep cooking with what is working, either direction, whatever that is. Tim Beck, I think, has learned and is adaptable with his game plan, so I'm not concerned about it not being executed properly. But Tennessee's run defense is a lot better than their pass defense statistically this year. Tennessee's giving up 3.6 yards per carry to FBS opponents. That's 28th in the country. Tennessee is giving up 7.3 yards per pass attempt to opponents. That is 80th in the country. They're giving up a 67.24% completion percentage. That's 124th in the country. Start out running your normal game plan. But if initially it doesn't work on drive one, then you just got to regroup and go to what has worked previous games, like what worked against Kentucky, and just put the ball in Diego Pavia's hands. So go with what is working. Don't get stuck in an initial game plan. I don't think Tim Beck is going to do that. He's shown he's able to adapt and not get stuck in his ways. I'm confident it's going to happen either direction. But keep cooking with what is working. That's my key number 2 to victory.
Yeah. For my key number 2, I'm going to flip over to the defensive side. I think this is a huge – I think to win this game, it rests, as crazy as it sounds, I think it largely rests upon the shoulders of the Vanderbilt cornerbacks. I think with the way Tennessee offense is structured and the way they space you out and they like to operate within space using those wide hashes, they have really, 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 not just this season, but really during the entire Josh Heupel tenure, really targeted team secondaries and really exploited that. And exploited the fact that a lot of teams' defensive backs cannot play well in space. And the Tennessee has the athletes out wide to play in space to really exploit those matchups. I think for this game, Jordan Matthews, Martell Height are going to have to really, really, really show me something in space. Show me that you can run like horses with these really talented Tennessee wide receivers. I think in turn, I think it's going to also be a really, really big game for the Vanderbilt safeties as well. Marlon Sewell, CJ Hurd, Dante Carter, going to have to step up. They're going to have to play on an island a lot of the game. And I think that's something that is going to be key for Vanderbilt's success. So if the Vanderbilt secondary can play well in space, which is a huge ask, that can give them an edge in this game.
You haven't hit on the most in-your-face one that we kind of discussed in the preview here about Joey Aguilar yet. But it's not going to be what I go to because I didn't have it on my list because I assumed it would be on your piece
okay.
of the
Well,
game.
I saved it for last in case like you might take it.
So I tried to go a little off the beaten path here because we already discussed how little time of possession is going to matter in this game. So I'm trying to go off the beaten path, do something I haven't discussed in previous games. And that's going to be win the field position battle. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of points. So you would kind of say, well, why does field position matter in a game that there's not going to be a ton of punts in? I'll give you that. Whatever. However, looking at the deep analytics, as we've said, doesn't tell you the full story. But if you've watched a lot, can create some interesting insights. Vanderbilt and Tennessee are both top 30 in net field position on the season, contributing to their offensive success. Vanderbilt plus 2.4 at number 26. Tennessee at number 19, I think, statistically. I'm kind of having trouble reading these stats because they don't make a lot of sense. But both teams are top 30 in net field position. Whoever can be in the best opportunities or be given the best opportunities by their special teams units are going to have success in this game. You saw a touchdown return by Trey Richardson on a kickoff called back due to a very questionable holding against Kentucky. I think executing on special teams in general is going to be a key to this game, and a lot of that is what contributes to net field position. So offense needs to do their job, defense needs to do their job, but win the field position battle. Those little opportunities in what I believe is going to be a high-scoring game, I think that can be a major key to victory here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take what we previously hit on. I'm going to take on the chalk is this Vanderbilt defense is going to have to get pressure on Joey Aguilar. And I'll harken back to what I said I noticed in the Kentucky game is I loved the blitz packages that Stephen Gregory implemented against Kentucky, the simulated pressure, the stunts, the mismatch with the safeties and the cornerback blitzes really kept Kentucky off guard. I think he's going to have to do a lot of similar things against Tennessee. Like I said, you'd love it if your front four could get pressure. However, unfortunately, throughout the season, you haven't quite seen that from the Vanderbilt front four, but you've been able to see the cornerbacks get home. You've been able to see the safeties of CJ Hurd get home. Numerous times you've been able to see the linebackers get home. That's something that Vanderbilt is going to have to continue to do so in this game. Keep Joey Aguilar off rhythm. Keep him off schedule and keep him uncomfortable. I think if Vanderbilt can do that, they can force some more turnovers out of Joey Aguilar, or at the very least, keep Tennessee behind the chains.
Yeah, I had written down create turnovers as an alternate there, which is kind of what you're saying, which would have led into getting pressure on Joey Aguilar because that's when he makes bad decisions, when he has pressure on him or he's in tight situations. Otherwise, he does have 10 interceptions on the year.
Yeah.
But otherwise, when he's not under pressure, he's been solid. When he is under pressure, that's when you see those bad decisions made. You saw it against Oklahoma. You've seen it other times throughout the season. So that is our 3 keys to the game / 3 keys to victory. You want to get to predictions here?
I will.
All right, I will go first to keep the good luck rolling, hopefully. So I'll start by saying this Josh Heupel offense is the nightmare offense for Vanderbilt to face. What they do, getting guys in space on the outside, isolating your cornerbacks, that is the weakness of this Vanderbilt team in its entirety. That said, I've long said that I'm not sure which direction I'm going on this game. I'm not going to have my final prediction of a regular season game with Diego Pavia at the helm as a loss for the Vanderbilt Commodores. This team has proven time in, time out that they will do the unexpected. This is a nightmare matchup for this defense. I expect them to have a solid game, not a good game, definitely not a great game. Tennessee's going to move the ball against Vanderbilt. There's no doubt in my mind. They're going to have some opening drives. They're going to have a good first half maybe. Tennessee's going to move the ball. Vanderbilt is also going to move the ball against this Tennessee defense. This is not a good Tennessee defense. This is not the Tennessee defense of last year. I am taking the Vanderbilt Commodores to beat Tennessee 41-38 in a stressful ass game that raises my blood pressure permanently. Vanderbilt takes the victory 41-38 over Tennessee.
I am truly shocked that Will just picked a Vanderbilt victory because I want to show you a little, I'll give the listeners a little behind the scenes insight. For the longest time, you've said, I'm not picking Vanderbilt to win this game. I want to say, brother, welcome to the gold color glasses side. I ain't picked a Vanderbilt loss all season long. And you know what, Will, I'm right there with you. You got me fucked up if you think I'm going to start now. Give me the doors. 42, Tennessee 36, victory in Knoxville 10-2. I believe in the boys. I want this so bad. I have no shame in saying this is my Super Bowl. This is my national title. People clown it, Super Bowl national title. You're damn straight. This is my Super Bowl. This is my national title. This means something to me. Haven't picked against the doors all season long. And you start now. Give me the doors, baby.
I'm 10-1 on the year. Not trying to brag or anything.
Guys, I'm 9-2. All right, so we're not that different here.
It's
One
true.
game separates us.
That is true, but I'm picking Vanderbilt to win. Trevor's picking Vanderbilt to win. I think we both have relatively tight games as well. I don't think either of us. To me, these two teams in very different fashions. They do not have the same playing style. These are two very even teams.
Yeah.
They don't have the same playing style at all. I'm not calling them mirrors of each other, but their weaknesses are in pass coverage. That's the weakness of the whole team. Their run defenses, I think Vanderbilt's is slightly better than Tennessee's, but still that's the quote-unquote strength of not great defenses. And the offenses are some of the most efficient in the entire country in different ways, but some of the most efficient in the entire country. Mm-hmm. So this is a fascinating game if you're not a Vanderbilt or Tennessee fan. This is just a fascinating college football game. If you love ball, this is a game you got to be tuned into. So that is the full Tennessee preview. We have a lot of premium message board questions to get to. We are already running way over on time, and this is going to continue to be way over. So let's go ahead and dive into them. GLH for VU. First and foremost, it's always fuck the Vols. Number 1, Kentucky attempted to limit the run game, it felt like, and we obliterated them through the air. If you had to defend this offense, what would you do?
I don't know.
I mean, I would
get them in the red zone and force them to kick field goals. But then again, like Vanderbilt's one of the best red zone teams in America. I don't know. Pressure?
I mean, it's what teams are trying to do. You got to spy Pavia, and you got to make him beat you with his arm. You can't guard everything on defense. And at this point, Vanderbilt's able to run the football if you don't stack the box. Diego Pavia with the ball in his hands, you try to contain him, but then he makes plays down the field if you provide a spy. This is just a tough defense to guard. I'd probably do what Kentucky tried to do. I'd probably do what other teams have tried to do, and it just hasn't worked. Simply, you got to have very athletic and dynamic edges to defend this offense. You saw that from Missouri. You saw that from Texas for a large part of the game. You got to have long, athletic edges on your defense, and if you don't have that personnel, then you can't really guard them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Tennessee's offense. You got to have good corners. If you don't have good corners, you just can't guard this Tennessee offense. So we'll see if Vanderbilt can step up. Number 2 from GLH4VU. The Tennessee defense is ... not good in any facet, really. With the heater Pavia has been on. Do you start passing game heavy and use it to establish the run, or do you keep with what we've done all year and run to try to establish the pass first?
I think you stay with what you've been doing. I think you run to win, throw to score.
Stick with what you've been doing. Follow that Kentucky game plan. If it doesn't work early, then go to what's been working. Vanderbilt's implemented some of that up-tempo offense, and it's worked really well.
Yeah.
If you need to, you've got that in your bag of tricks now.
Do what it's like you said, do it. If it ain't working, do what you get against Kentucky, Auburn, and Texas. Vanderbilt couldn't run the ball to save their life against Auburn, so they're like, all right, fine. Ball up top. We'll spread you out and we'll throw it over top.
Yeah, that was kind of one of my keys to the game.
Exactly.
Roll with what's working. From Peter Porker 714. Peter. Number 1, not a question. Just wanted to shout out the women's soccer team for advancing to the Elite 8. Shout out the women's soccer team.
Shout out to the women's soccer
That's
team.
awesome.
Shout out to Dean Ambrose.
And number 2, Tennessee stinks.
Yes.
Or sucks. So no question there. Black Knight Door, not question, but a statement. I can't wait to check her Neeland.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Hey, check Twitter, find out what section you're in, and make sure you're wearing the corresponding color for your section. I'm in the black section. So I think you're in the gold section because you're in the section right beside me. Or am I gold and you black?
We'll have to check Twitter
to
make sure. We got to check it though, for sure. Unabridged, it's too easy.
It literally it's just like such a softball. Like, oh, haha, guys, we're gonna check our needle and they're gonna fucking kill you and your family.
Yeah, right. You can't even fill up your high school stadium.
I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna kill you.
And also, God forbid a player's mom gets excited. That's more on ESPN. If you're following this at all.
I agree.
I will say the camera cuts, I didn't get to watch the full replay because the game started on ESPN2. I have it set to record Vanderbilt games, then it switched to ESPN. So it cut me off about 40 minutes in. I will say there's nothing wrong with a mom getting excited about her son playing well. None of that's not what I'm. ESPN, my God. Did every camera cut have to be to Diego Pavia's mom?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to lie. Watching it, I was like, what the hell is going on? You have a sold-out crowd here.
Yeah.
And you're just cutting to her. You're setting it up
and
for
it's
this exact thing to happen.
And it's not just – you think they would learn because it's not an issue. Like you said, it's not an issue with Diego Pavia's mother. But, ESPN has a long history of, we've got a really good game going. Let's flash it to the quarterback's mother and girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then have people on the internet or Brent Musburger in the booth make inappropriate comments about them.
It's literally
you would think they would have learned their lesson, but it's weird.
It gets them engagement.
It's weird.
It gets them engagement and clips of the broadcast, kind of what they love to do in a completely different scenario with Monday Night Football of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It's like they just show it until they enrage the average fan, until will you stop?
Yeah.
Will you just show the game for the love of God?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy what has unfolded there. I don't know. I love shit talking as much as everybody. I'm just not going to, as a grown man, attack
another person's mother,
a college football player's mom. I'm just not going to do that. Sorry. I love shit talking. That's just.
I love shit talking as well. But I have there's certain things we've said it on this pod. You can call me whatever you want. You can make fun of the way I look, my weight. I don't give a rip. I have hard and fast rules. No matter what you say to me, I will not make fun of how you look, face, weight. I won't make fun of intelligence. Those are hard boundaries for me that I won't cross.
Oh, see, that's where I won't make. You are the one responsible for your posts or your talking points.
Yeah.
I won't make fun of anybody. If you have a picture of you and your wife or you and your girlfriend, I'm not going to make fun of her. Or vice versa. It's not many women. There are some annoying ones on there, but it's I'm not going to make fun of your boyfriend in that situation, but I will make fun of how you look. I will.
Yeah.
Let's get to the next one. Unabridged. Number one, what's the best way to deal with obnoxious Vol fans over Thanksgiving?
Laugh at them. I mean, once you realize that like Vol fans and Vol Twitter used to be like very formidable and used to be like something that was like actually cool. As it's progressed, man, shout out to my boy who actually created Vol Twitter at Suck My Vols on Twitter, Young Phil Fulmer. I know him in real life. Actually, a really, really good dude. Yeah, ever since he stepped away from Twitter, like Vol Twitter has just turned into like a really, really like weird place. It used to be like, oh my gosh, Vol Twitter, I hope they don't find this. And now it's just like, it's just middle-aged people with AI profile pics just like tweeting weird things at you. And you're just like, yeah, all right, well, I'm gonna keep going with my day.
It's really like generally this is not just Vol Twitter. This is a lot of burnerverse Twitter.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but it's a lot of people that their entire worth is built around pissing or attempting to piss people off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's become so obvious that their only goal is to enrage you. So it makes it not enraging. It's it's like if you otherwise were a common sense, level-headed person, and then you were starting to talk all this stuff with decent talking points, then you start to enrage people.
Mm-hmm.
When you're just like, Diego Pavia's mother is a slut, I'm just like, all right, like, well, you've just crossed a line that makes it not even, we're way past talking on the field now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know even what to say. Like, you can shit on Diego Pavia for being short, but that's a very different thing than being like, his mom's a slut.
Yeah, it's like, what are we doing now?
Yeah, what is this? And then people being like, you're telling me you wouldn't do the same thing in the other direction. I'm like, no, we wouldn't.
No. Well, I never have.
I bet you $1 trillion we wouldn't actually. And anybody associated with the Door Report would not.
You can scroll through everybody who's associated with TDR's Twitter, and you will never, ever, ever find a single tweet to where any of us have done that.
No. It's a line crossed by losers, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
How high will you let the over-under get on this game before you wouldn't bet the over? Right now, the over-under, according to BetMGM, is currently sitting at 65.5. I just checked it. That's still the over for me.
Yeah, it's.
I mean,
that's the over for me as well. I think
once it got to a number which it will not get to, like 69.5 to 70.5, that's when I would start maybe not feeling as confident on the over under. I don't see a way that I feel like this game's a race to 40. Like
I agree.
You never know on rivalry week.
I agree
because it can turn into a slugfest. It's like I never expected Vanderbilt Auburn to turn into a shootout 45-38, but at this point, it feels like a race to 40 in this game.
And rivalry weeks are so weird. Like, we are predicting this race to 40. I would not be shocked in the slightest if the final is like 16-12.
With how the season has gone.
Guys, we're all expecting a race to 40. It's going to be like a 17-13 ball game.
That would be
that's what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now.
If it came down to two defenses that have not been good, like bottom 6 in the like Vanderbilt almost universally sitting about 11th in the SEC in a lot of categories. Tennessee sitting about 14th, 13th in most categories. The most poetic thing that this season would end on is a slug it out, low scoring game between two of the most efficient offenses in the country and two of the least efficient defenses in the country. Just a brawl, slug it out game.
The mean totally regrets.
That would be just chef's kiss. All right, from Unabridged. I know Trevor has mentioned this before, but how damn good has the ops team / DJ been with the music choices and timing? Shout / bar song / in the air / I want to dance with somebody were all perfectly timed on Saturday. Still not enough replays, but damn, the music was spot on for the mood and energy of the game. The ops team has slowly improved throughout the whole season, which is all you can ask for.
Yeah.
The game day experience, maybe it's also because I went to Lexington and saw what that game day experience was like. And granted, it was an FCS team, so I'm not fully talking about the crowd. I'm talking about game day ops. All right, this is not crowd. Their speaker system, their music, their traditions, it was just a whole different level Vanderbilt's on right now than what Kentucky was.
Yeah. It's even our friends over at our friends at KSR. I don't know if we call them friends. But our counterparts at KSR on On3 after the game were like, Vanderbilt First Bank Stadium is cool.
The environment was sick as hell. Like, we wish we had that. And I tweeted, like, we live in a society. Like, it feels like, at what point in history has another SEC team come to First Bank Stadium, formerly Vanderbilt Stadium, and be like, yeah, this environment's sick as hell. I wish we had this.
Yeah, and it's like what we always say. The renovations have obviously helped. Game day ops can do what they do, and they've helped and they've contributed. The number one key to this is what we've said since this podcast began. You win, that environment will get better. You put a good product on the field, everything else will come together around it. Now, Vanderbilt has done a good job capitalizing on that. The renovations have come at the right time, but that old stadium with the same game day ops still would have been electric if this team was sitting at 8-2 going into that Kentucky game.
Valid.
You got to put a good product on the field and the environment will follow, but Vanderbilt ops has done a good job capitalizing on that. So I'm not dismissing what they have done, but they've more seized the moment than created the moment, I will say.
I agree.
You just can't create the moment for a bad football team. It just doesn't work that way.
No.
Denver Door is the most important and impactful. Is this the most important and impactful Tennessee game that you can remember? Once we win, where would you rank it amongst our wins so far this year?
It's the most important and impactful in my lifetime. And was the second portion of the question like ranking it in our lifetime?
No, in the wins this season.
In the wins this season, number one.
Yeah.
Point blank period, number one.
Yeah,
Going on the road, hostile environment, rivalry week, last game of the season against the top 20 team. Yeah, this would be the biggest win of the season.
Yeah. And moving you to 10 regular seasons for the first time in program history.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Magoogs, what I'd love to understand is how we went from massive movement on the extension front a week ago to nothing since, and Clark Lee making press conference statements today that sound very tepid on the things outside of his control. He was eating steak dinner with the chancellor last Monday, and we were talking 5-star flips. Now crickets. Do you know what is driving that?
I don't think it's crickets. I'm sorry, read the question again.
He's just saying how there felt like there was so much momentum.
Oh, okay.
And now it's paused. I will not lie to you. There's part of me that it's just I'm wet blanket Will is what it is. I don't understand how this is not done. If you're in administration, all this stuff with the renovations, all this stuff with the momentum you've built, if you mess this up, if you don't re-sign Clark Lee to a large, massive extension and lock him up in Nashville, all that goes out the window. All the goodwill you've created with me, that's done. And genuinely, I mean this, and I'll put this out there. I'm still confident Clark Lee will be extended and all of this. This is not a press panic, whatever. If they don't get the deal with Clark Lee done, the tone of TDR is going to change dramatically. I will basically be done as a fan, and this will truly turn into just I'm a guy covering the team. And so the tone of this is going to change dramatically. If you can't retain Clark Lee, then what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, I don't know how else to put it. If you do not get him signed with this extension, then what are you even doing? Drop down conference levels. Like, legitimately, that's a slap in the face to every fan that's bought in to what you've been saying. Because regardless of if it's out of your control, university, then whatever. It's not worth it. If they can't re-sign the guy that graduated from here, played football here, wants to be here, and they can't get that done, then you're useless. Then you're pathetic at your job.
Yeah.
So get it done, or the tone of this podcast is going to change dramatically. And I'm no longer going to be a fan in that sense. I will just be purely a person covering this team.
Yeah. But to answer the question, no, it's coaching extensions are weird. I would also like to remind everybody that he is represented by Jimmy Sexton, and no Jimmy Sexton client has signed an extension to this point. I am not worried. I think if you look at, I think if we just, and once again, the dichotomy of TDR, me being more optimistic, I think if we just looked at this from a bird's eye view and said, okay, Vanderbilt, what has Clark Lee wanted more than anything outside of NIL buy-in? He wanted a football operations facility. Okay, Vanderbilt is committed as of recently to give him a football operations facility. Vanderbilt just got a 4-star tight end. Vanderbilt, for all intents and purposes,
we have reported it. And now Hayes Fawcett is starting to report it. Others insiders.
The other site that we're not allowed to mention.
Yeah, TOS is Steve Wiltfong of Rivals is reporting it. Everybody's reporting that they predict Vanderbilt to land Jared Curtis. Let's take all that into consideration and tell me if that were since all of this is happening, do you not expect Clark Lee to sign an extension? So
yeah, I just wanted to put that out there.
That's not on you, but that's like and I totally understand it, but I get out of class every day, and I totally because I'm a fan. If I was in y'all's situation, I would be blowing up my phone too. I literally get out of class every 3 hours to 50 to 75 texts asking me about an update on Clark Lee. And to be totally transparent with you guys, Vanderbilt was not Vanderbilt. We had sources chit-chatting with us for a very, very long time. As of what we reported, I believe last Friday, we haven't heard anything. So
yeah, I'm still positive on it. I just have to put out there I am positive on it because there is no other recourse. There's no other path. I've heard things that have made me positive from sources, but I just can't emphasize enough if there's anybody from they're not going to affect their decisions on millions of dollars from hearing this, but it's my only concern is the Vanderbilt admin doesn't understand the scope of this, of if you lose him, it's done. This is done.
Mm-hmm.
It's over.
Yeah.
All of this is over. You're going to have a dead stadium for the next 10 to 15 years. You're blowing up basically a $50 million, $100 million operation. You're just plummeting into the ground over what? Maybe a difference of some administrative changes and a max of $2 to $5 million a year. You're going to blow up a $100 million operation in something that would be valued maybe close to $1 billion. You're going to blow that up. All right. Sylvan Park Door. How many transfer portal commits do you think Vanderbilt already has silently committed, expecting many to pop next week? Are there any contributors or starters you suspect will enter the portal? I do not know on either of those fronts. I would just be speculating.
I haven't reported this because nobody's asked. As of right now, I know of at least 3.
Nice.
Portal commits. One of which is a current SEC starter.
Love that. Subscribe.
Do not ask me anymore on the board. I can't. I swear. I'm so sorry, guys. I hate to be a tease. I really do. Believe me. I cannot tell you anymore at this moment.
Perfect. Vandy Lance says, Vandy Lance 25. I love TDR, and I'm going to miss Lot 2. That's all. Use this moment of reflection on the great year of Lot 2 if you haven't done so. Use this moment.
Yeah, moment of silence for Lot 2.
This is a new poster. Dad went to Vandy. First off, just want to ask, who's got it better than us? Notre Dame.
Well, yeah, but that's not part of the gimmick. Well, no. Buddy is better than Doors right now. Not even Notre Dame. Don't let that thought in your mind.
Secondly, with Michael Mitchell Jr. decommitting, a 3-star quarterback, and Jared Curtis / Clark Lee's extension still being up in the air, what quarterbacks do you realistically expect us to target in the portal if we miss on Jared? Not the pipe dreams, just the ones you think realistically might end up the starter this upcoming season. You've already made it clear you don't expect Berlowitz to be the star next season, but is there any chance he is? And could he be successful? Also, what sort of regression do you expect going into next season? No Pavia, no Stowers. I know we won't go 9-3/10-2, but are we going to drop to 6-6? To answer the end of that question, I mean, yes.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's going to drop, but I don't think that's a negative.
Yeah, like look at the way that question is phrased. Number one, drop to 6-6.
Drop to 6, and guys, we would be on any other year. We would be on our hands and knees begging God for 6-6. And so I think too, we just have to remind ourselves, even elite teams go through rebuilding years. And if 6-6 is a rebuilding year for Vanderbilt, then sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up right now.
Yeah. Now other quarterbacks.
As for portal additions, it would be total speculation right now.
Yeah, I have nothing.
I haven't heard any names.
Yeah, I know there are options.
Yeah.
But right now, Jared Curtis is the best option. Now, we don't know what direction that's going to go, but right now that is the best option for Vanderbilt at quarterback. I don't expect Blaise Berlowitz to be the starter. He could win out in the job. They're not just going to hand the job to whoever is there.
Right.
Can he be successful? Define successful. He would have to show a lot of improvement from what I saw during fall camp. A lot of improvement. He has the physical tools. He's got the size. He's got the speed. He's got the arm. You just have to show a lot of improvement to me.
In decision-making,
Yeah, the decision-making just is 60-70% of the time, he can look like the guy. It's just the 30-40% of the time, it's like, oh my God, like what is going on here? Ball security. It's just, that would be a huge step back. Pessimistic Door. How much concern does the Vols offensive system spreading our DBs out, putting them on islands with NFL caliber wide receivers, which they've shown to struggle with that talent gap? Do you think they'll continue to play some sort of zone or trust their guys one-on-one? Also, how gettable is their O-line? I feel like our pass rush will be the X factor in this matchup.
I think Vanderbilt will have to play zone. They'll obviously switch it between man and zone, but I think predominantly all year long, Vanderbilt has played zone. I think this game, Vanderbilt's going to have to play zone and be really, really sound whenever it comes to their bubbles. In terms of the Tennessee offensive line, I think the Tennessee offensive line is susceptible. It's not the Tennessee offensive line of previous years. I don't think it's the best offensive line Vanderbilt will have faced all year by any means. I also don't think it's the worst by any means. So I think Lance Hurd, particularly a left tackle, is a little bit susceptible.
Yeah, it's susceptible. It's not bad.
Right.
Though.
Yeah.
And how their offense runs, it's hard to get pressure.
Exactly.
Because they have a lot of quick dump off options. Yeah, kind of agree with what you said. Drew Garrett says, what a time to be a Vandy fan. Thankful to have been a part of this Vanderbilt timeline. Is this the year we stop the Shane Gillis offense?
You're the Shane Gillis guy. I don't understand that reference.
I don't know what that means.
The Shane Gillis offense.
I don't know what that is a reference to. I don't know if you meant to type Shane Gillis.
You're a Shane Gillis stan.
Yeah,
so
he's my Taylor Swift, and I'm not following this one. But it continues to go. Or do you think we are just going to try and race them to the finish by spreading them out and letting it fly? I mean, Tennessee's going to score.
Yeah.
They're going to create big plays. You're going to have to score to beat them. You're not going to hold Tennessee, and like as we say this will probably look dumb. You're not going to hold Tennessee to 14 points. 17. Like I just don't see that happening.
No, yeah.
So you're gonna have to score with them. I don't think it's just race to the finish line, let it fly against them. But yeah, you're gonna have to.
You have to put up some type of fortitude. Yeah, but
maybe he's just comparing how Josh Heupel looks to Shane Gillis.
I don't think they look alike, though.
I feel like that's disrespectful to Shane Gillis.
Yeah, dude. Hey, man, we don't. Hey, shout out to Drew. I know that guy. He's a real good guy.
We will not take Shane Gillis slander on this podcast.
We don't body shame at TBR. That's where we separate ourselves from the other podcast. We don't body shame around here.
All right, from World's Strongest Vandy Fan. First off, I want to thank you guys for the community you've built. Going to Lot 2 has become a part of the pregame routine, and both my parents loved going there for the first time this year. Mom requests more of the Vanderbilt cookies, and I haven't seen my old man smile at a Vandy game like he did when the band was playing in Lot 2 before Georgia State, like he was on the field after UK. He talked to Brock Taylor's dad after UK and mentioned he went 11-33 in his career. He said it's unbelievable what the campus and program are like this season compared to what he saw as a player. Shout out Miller for the burgers and barbecue and the brats. Who knows how many of those I ate at the regional tailgate. Jalen for running it with any opposing fan base. Long live the Cutler Bronx jersey. And Joseph for trying to dox me every time I see him. Y'all have made something honestly I never thought would happen given the relative age of our fan base 5+ years ago and the state of our athletic program. And I just wanted to thank you guys for another great season of Lot 2. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
On to my actual question. Since Lee is signed through 2029, is that why there was no talk of an extension until FBS coaches started dropping like flies? I see a lot of people using Lashley Signetti as examples of extensions getting done, and I'm pretty sure Lashley was in the last year of his deal and Signetti was in year 2 or 3. Definitely a different position than Lee, who signed a 6-year extension after 2022. Candace Story Lee was tossing extensions out like candy that year. Would that explain why discussions didn't start until mid-season after 8+ jobs opened up? And despite the Curtis deadline approaching, there doesn't seem to be a true rush to get things done. Or am I reading way too far into things and it's all just Sexton being difficult? And on that note, If you're Lee, do you consider getting a new agent after this gets done so he doesn't put your school and town through the ringer again?
That's not something I thought of. That's very interesting. I think he brings up really, really good points, especially whenever it comes to Rhett Lashley, who Clark Lee's been compared to. Both having similar pay structures, but also it being omitted from the record that Lashley was on his last deal and Clark Lee is not close to being on his last year of his deal. I think those are really good points. I don't think you're actually looking too far into it, if you want me to be totally honest. In regards to the second portion, does he consider dumping Jimmy Sexton? No, because Jimmy Sexton is legitimately the best at what he does.
There's a reason he represents.
There's a reason
everyone.
he represents the best of the best. And even though it puts us through immense stress, Jimmy Sexton gets his clients paid. So no.
Yeah. We still have a lot. Just another door. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the difficulty on the catch that Richie Hoskins made on the touchdown? Also, can we show a little love for Gabe Fisher? Comes up limping, stays in the game, and throws a stellar block on the very next play. The Richie Hoskins touchdown was like a 9.9 out of 10 on difficulty.
Yeah.
That's just being fearless.
Yeah,
So
that's just being a warrior.
You know you're going to get hit. And also a perfect throw.
Yeah.
Literally right where it needed to be, but an even better catch. Richie deserves a lot of credit.
That's
for
just
that.
being a lunch pail guy.
Hard hat lunch bill guy.
A guy that you let date your daughter.
And another guy, Gabe Fisher, hard hat lunch pail kind of guy. We're Gabe Fisher fans.
Gabe Fisher, real gym rat.
We have game props again from Kodak Black and Gold after some others reminded him. After a 2-week break, we are back as requested. We'll have some ground to make up after Trevor going 7-2 in the Texas game. Game props. First half money line, Vanderbilt, UT Junior.
Was that a question to me?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. What was the question?
It's the props.
Okay.
First half money line, Vanderbilt or UT Junior.
Ooh, God. Vanderbilt.
Can I go push for extended odds to make up my ground against Trevor? Say tie ball game going into half. I think it's going to be really tight at halftime. I think it's going to depend on who receives the ball first.
What's my total record again?
You're 22-21. I'm 16-27.
Damn, I'm the green.
Team to score the first touchdown, Vanderbilt or UT Junior.
Whoever gets the ball first. So I'll say, can I do a push on that for extended odds?
Possibly. You can't really push that because they can't tie.
I'm not a gambling guy. I'll go Tennessee.
I'll go Tennessee as well. Any team to score 40+ points, yes or no?
Yes.
I think it's a race to 40. Over under 2.5 personal fouls between both teams. That's a
Over.
good line.
Over. That's a great line.
I'm going to go under. I think it's going to be 2.
Okay.
I think both coaches are going to emphasize that. We'll see if that works. Vandy over under 1.5 turnovers forced.
Over.
I'm going to go over. Player props. Pavia over under 0.5 interceptions. I'm going over.
I'm going to go under.
Okay. I think he's going to throw 1.
Okay.
Pavia over under 324.5 passing plus rushing yards.
Over.
Over for me. Stowers over under 4.5 receptions.
Over.
Over. Yep, we're agreeing on a lot of these.
Yeah.
Richardson over under 2.5 first down receptions. Ooh, that's a good line.
I'm going to go under.
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over.
Okay.
Taylor over under 40.5 yards longest field goal made. No field goal will be counted as the under. I'm going to go over.
Over.
Optional pick, Cheryl anytime touchdown. Touchdown +4, no touchdown -2.
Touchdown.
I'm gonna go touchdown for me as well.
Mhm.
So we agreed on a lot of those.
Yeah.
So not a lot of ground for me to make up there. Tyler CTD, what are we drinking on after we scrape the orange shit off our boots on Saturday?
The tears of all fans.
Tears of all fans. I like that.
Shout out to Tyler. I love that dude.
McNulty Nash 1 said me and my son are going to the game on Saturday. We were there when Vandy won the fake jump pass in 2013. On our way out of the stadium, several orange people threatened to kill us. Any chance we can get Blake Fromang to escort us out of the stadium after Vandy takes care of business on Saturday?
If they kill me, then tell my mom I died doing what I loved.
Yep.
Tell my mom I died doing what I loved.
Yeah, Blake's a fake fan. He's not coming anyway.
Yeah, and he cheers for a team that wears orange. I do hope, I will say, because I know we got to go quick.
if we don't make the playoff, I hope we go to the Citrus Bowl because that is in Orlando, and I would love to stay at Blake's house.
Commodore Cam, if someone takes a cheap shot at Pavia, should we storm the field and jump the player who hit Pavia? I think the offensive line and Cade McConnell will take care of that themselves.
Cade McConnell's got some grit. I mean, that whole offensive line, but Cade McConnell's got some piss and vinegar in him. I love that guy.
The common man's Commodore 95. Dearest mother, the promises made at dawn of the year have long since faded for many campaigns, but not ours. Never has there been a more fitting moment for a true contest of in-state forces. The battleground's breath chafes at our doorstep, and our troops are eager for the blood-orange moon that will hang overhead. Field General Pavia has bid farewell to the bank, but he has not yet drawn his last breath. A fierce fire burns within his heart as these dim-witted scallywags in orange jumpsuits attack the honor of our mothers. On Saturday, they shall face the might of 75-yard breadbasket bombs as he advances along I-40, as if he rode under the escort of the provost guard. The era of the door is near. No force shall impede its march. They believed Thursday to be the feast. They were mistaken. Keep us in your prayer, Mother. As always, anchor down, Admiral C.
Dude,
Doesn't miss.
Dude, him saying they thought Thursday was the feast, they're mistaken, that goes hard. If we win, that might be my Instagram caption.
And final one here from Vandy fan. Dearest son,
Yes.
your correspondence came just in time. The women have been beside themselves. Ladies who have never known a moment's distress fairly threw themselves into the dust, tearing their handkerchiefs and crying out, "O Pavia, our Pavia, must we lose him too?" My heart broke as well as I saw our blessed army march out the gates for the last time. Alas, the war is not yet done. As you rolled eastward at dawn, we could taste the iron on the wind, sharp as the promise of vengeance. Every heart in Nashville knows the scent of blood is rising, and it drifts from the hills out yonder where those inbred scoundrels in their garish orange still dare to crow. Let them cling to that rotting scrap of pride, those orange degenerates, as if a few dusty victories from the granddaddy's days settle anything at all. Let them crow while they still have tongues. Our columns thunder east, now to finish a reckoning that has festered far too long, and every mile closer reeks of the blood already owed. When Diego drives the black and gold standard straight through the smoking ruin of their precious hill, every last inbred soul from Knoxville to the Carolina line will finally choke on the truth. Every time they thought they had whipped us, they were only pulling the blade slower across their own throats. This time we do not stop at the hilt. Ride, my son. Ride, my admiral. Ride until the east is clear of that vile filth. The black night is coming, and the golden dawn awaits.
Hard.
Yours in love, Mother.
Hard.
And that was the last of the premium message board questions
What a
for
way to
regular
end it.
season. What a way to close it out here. It doesn't get better than that.
Wow.
Any last thoughts you have on this matchup before we close out episode 343 of the Door Report? A beefy episode.
Guys, if I don't make it back from Knoxville, know that I loved you all.
Me as well. I love you all. I hope to make it back, but you never know. For myself, Will Byrum, and my co-host, Trevor Hulan, this has been episode 343 of the Door Report, powered by 615 Collectibles.